Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. And today we're going to do a Let's Chat video. I have decided that once a week I'm going to try and just do a vlog video where I give you a little update on what's going on inside my own head and in my day-to-day life. And well, this week has been a doozy. So let's jump into it. First of all, this was the first week that my husband hasn't been employed. And so he's working really hard to establish some habits for himself. So while he doesn't have a business or a work day, he has a day that he has to develop what he needs in order to go after another job. That includes writing a resume for the first time in over 20 years and pulling together samples of all the work he's done over the past 24 years. He's an animator and a motion graphic designer. So he has to put together an animation reel or a portfolio reel. And I'm not going to pretend to understand what that is. But what did I do with my week? Well, our youngest son, had to have a portion of his toe removed. So, yeah, that was fun. Oh, boy. Yeah, we thought he had an infection on his big toe. He has special needs, and we've been trying to teach him how to clip his own toenails. And we thought maybe he got the skin or whatever. Oh, though he also, years ago, he got so angry at me because he got in trouble that he thought he was being a big boy and kicked his foot into the wall. Ooh, he wanted to show me, and it got infected at that point too. So he's had all sorts of problems with his big toe on his left foot, and we've tried everything from soaking in Epsom salts. We tried Bactine, we tried Neosporin, we tried Lotrimin, because at one point we thought, well, maybe it's a fungal infection. Long story short, nothing was fixing it. It would get a little better, and then it would get worse again. So finally I took him to the doctor. That was 2 weeks ago, and the doctor looked at me and said, this isn't an infection, this is a growth. And I was like, alrighty then. Because, back, 5-6 years ago, Mark actually had a strange growth up inside his mouth that had to be removed. Yeah, that was fun. So fast forward to 2 weeks ago, and he said, yeah, you're going to have to see a podiatrist because I don't know how much of this is actually going to have to be removed. And he looks at me and he said, this is going to have to be sent to pathology. And so, boy, that was great. Because Mark's looking forward to doing employment transition program. It's called ATP where we live. And he's, a little backstory, he has profound special needs, including GRIN2B, neurodevelopmental disorder, which is a neurological condition. He has low IQ, intellectual disability, long-term and short-term memory loss, a processing disorder, a communication disorder, sensory integration disorder, a suspected urea cycle disorder, and a congenital amino acid metabolic disorder. There's even more, but those are the heavy hitters. Oh, and he has severe Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Those are the heavy hitters. Oh, and ADHD. Or no, excuse me, ADD. He's not hyperactive. He has ADD with impulsivity. Okay, you get the idea. There's a crap ton of stuff going on. So the doctor's like, yeah, this is going to have to go to pathology. And so I'm thinking, oh no. And Mark's panicked. He doesn't understand everything that's going on because he's hearing what the doctor's saying, but he knows probably from the look on my face and the look on the doctor's face that this ain't good. And so Mark is understandably concerned that this is going to impede him starting ETP in the fall because he's so excited. He really, even if it's a volunteer position, he deserves, and he really desires to feel like he has value, that he can contribute, and he can do things. And to his credit, he contributes by doing chores around the house, which I really genuinely appreciate, and I let him know that. So I call up podiatry, and I'm thinking, oh, like anything else, you know how it's like to get into see specialists. It can take months, and I'm thinking we're probably looking 6 to 8 months down the road. But lo and behold, they got him in 2 weeks, which was this past week. So we go in, and the doctor tells me, he looks at it, and before that, they called up and asked us to come in early so they could do Xrays. And I'm thinking, great, let's see how much we can get done all in one shot. I appreciated that. So they took, I think it was 6 to 8 Xrays. They were very thorough. And when we got to the doctor's office, it was just upstairs from where radiology was. He said that he was able to look at the X-rays, and they all looked great, looked fine, looked healthy. So that was a very good sign. And he examined the toe and said, okay, I'm going to do a block. I'm going to numb the toe, and then I'm going to take the nail off, and I'll take off a portion, the infected growth part. Well, it's not an infection. It looked infected. It was black. It was oozy. It was pretty darn bad. But he said, I'll numb him up, and we're going to have to take the toenail off, and I'll cut away, excise the growth, and you'll be good to go. I'm thinking, great. Mark did not enjoy the block. They put the doctor, and did 2 blocks, 2 big injections into the toe. And I didn't watch while they did that. I was trying to make eye contact with Mark and doing my best to distract him, because that clearly was quite painful. And afterwards, after the doctor left, he said, I'm going to let this sit and give it a little time to numb up, do its job. I looked down at the toe, which was covered in iodine. I knew it wasn't blood, but I could see the holes where the needles went in. Oh, so clearly Mark wasn't overreacting. With his sensory integration disorder and his processing disorder, I never really know how he's experiencing pain. Believe it or not, pain is a very personal experience. We all experience pain differently, and that's why I think it's so important to be very mindful of that. I think it's really important not to minimize or trivialize somebody else's experience of pain, because what might be hard or easy for us isn't hard or easy for somebody else, right? There's a scale there. And so I know that Mark was not having a good time of it. So the doctor comes back about 15 minutes or so later, and I'm doing, first of all, I can't handle gore. Oh boy, Lord have mercy. When I see blood or flesh or anything like that, I get a very visceral reaction. And so I'm doing everything I can to just put my focus where it needs to be, which is at Mark and helping him get through this, right? And the doctor said, okay, I've got the nail off, but Mom, there's a little more here that I have to take care of. And at this point, Mark is writhing in pain, and you can tell he's really trying hard not to scream. And the doctor said, I'm going to have to take a couple layers underneath the nail bed off as well. And he said, I could give him more pain medicine, but administering that is going to be just as painful as if I just finish it. And Mark must have understood, and he said, Mama, not stop talking. And that meant he needed me to focus on him and distract him. He didn't care what I talked about, which, God bless him. he got a mama that can talk about anything for any length of time. So I just told the doctor, just do it. Let's, get it over with. And he did. He ended up having to take the toenail off, a couple layers underneath the nail bed, and then part of the outside of the toe he had to cut off, excise. But Mark got to keep his foot, he got to keep his toe, and it's non-cancerous. And the doctor assured Mark that, hey, he said, good job, buddy, you did great. The good news is it's over, and the better news is it shouldn't come back. He's very confident that he got it all, which is great, because the growth he had removed out of his mouth about 5-6 years ago, that never came back either. So, knock on wood, let's hope that the same is true for this. But the doctor, proceeds to hand me the aftercare sheet, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, no, I can't do this. So we got home, and I told Jason, it is very rare that I will cop up to saying I can't handle something or I can't do something. And I think that's important. That is such an important skill, to understand where our limits are, where our boundaries are, and what we can and can't do. That's not a sign of weakness. That is a sign of humility and ability to know ourselves and articulate what we can or can't and are comfortable or uncomfortable doing. So I told Jason, look, I will deal with the bills. I will make phone calls till I'm blue in the face, because Jason loathes talking on the phone. I said, I can't do this. You're going to have to do it, because I knew it was going to be gory. Oh, and so Jason said, yeah, that's fine. And thank God he was willing to do that. But boy, that was just an incredibly stressful experience. And I'm so grateful that it's over because the doctor said, I said, well, how long till he's okay? In fact, we couldn't leave the office right away because Mark was shaking. And the nurse is like, well, have you eaten anything today? I'm thinking, no. We had to get here at 7 o'clock. The poor kid, I had to wake him up. He showered, got dressed, and he didn't have time to eat. And she said, well, have you had anything to drink? No. So they brought him a little juice, and I tried to help him settle down. And I asked him if it was hurting, and he said, no, it's okay. And again, I'm sure it was sore. Of course, it was numb to some degree, but I'm sure it wasn't comfortable, especially to walk on. But they bandaged it all up with gauze and an ace bandage, and then they put one of those boots on because there's no way he could put his sock and a closed-toe shoe on again. But the doctor assured me that, after a couple days, it'll take a while for the toenail to grow back, and it will grow back supposedly, but he should be up and about walking in a few days. And he was. But we're still having to, not us, Jason is still having to unbandage it every night. And then they have to soak it. Selective shouldering, right? That's a little term I've come up with myself. I don't have to take everything on my shoulders. I choose what I take on. I choose what I accept. So selective shouldering. That's a chore I'm not shouldering myself. But they are soaking it every night for about 10 minutes in iodine. And then letting it air dry, and then Jason rebandages it while it's in the healing process. So, and Mark, God bless him, he thanked the doctor afterwards, and he thanked me and he still thanks me because he knows that it's over with now, and now he has plenty of time to heal before ETP starts September 3rd, I think. It's right after Labor Day, and he'll be all healed up and right as rain, hopefully. So he's very excited about that. And the other thing that's happening this week is Mark turns 18, which is just flabbergasting for me for multiple reasons. One, we were told years and years and years ago when he was about 3 to, not expect much. They said, given his genetic situation, and I have another video coming out about that, but given his genetic background, he's our adopted son. We shouldn't expect much. At that point, he wasn't talking. He was just mainly rocking. He couldn't walk, was grunting, and was gesturing, but not talking, couldn't feed himself. Oh, and fast forward to the age of about 10, 11, 12, we had genetic testing done then, which revealed more insights, and we were told because of the genetic issues, he likely wouldn't live past 12, 13. Well, lo and behold, here we are at 18. And I'm not going to say that he's healthy, because obviously he's not, and his condition is degenerative. His memory continues to get worse and worse and worse. And he's aware of that, and that's painful to watch and to witness and to try and encourage and be optimistic. Because if you're not those things, what's the point, right? I mean, I think it's as important to face reality in the face and to be honest about it, but there's always something to be optimistic about or positive about. There's always a bright side, and that doesn't mean lying. And so that's difficult. But Mark is 18, and well, you know what? Lo and behold, he is walking and he is talking, even though he does so in a very different way. But him turning 18 is just, it's scary because his IQ is very low. I'd say he's probably 60s. And so his mental age is very different depending on the scenario. I'd say in some ways he's mentally maybe 8. In other ways, I think mentally he's 4. So it really depends on the area. He reads pretty okay. He reads at a kindergartner, first grade level. His writing looks like that of a preschooler. But he writes, and he can functionally read. And so now that he's turning 18, it's scary because we are intentionally not taking on guardianship of him, because to do so would mean that we would be liable should he, God forbid, ever break the law. And I, honest to God, don't believe he'd ever break the law intentionally. However, he could very easily do something without knowing it. He does not understand consequence. And once you take guardianship, it's very hard to break that. And so we are intentionally not taking guardianship, but we live in Washington State. And there's something called a supported decision-making agreement, which is a legally binding document that gives us as parents, and Mark has to sign this in front of a notary, and we sign it in front of a notary. It gives us the ability to help support him in making decisions, but he retains his own guardianship. He will be his own guardian, and that starts this week, and that is just crazy to me. That is crazy to me. And obviously, he's still going to be living with us, and we're going to support him as best we can. But I'm dreading, am I going to be able to call up and make appointments for him? Can I discuss medical information? And if Mark's sitting there, Mark can render consent and say, yes, you can share this with my mom to the best of his abilities. But I don't know how I feel about that. And I guess that's okay, right? Because we don't have to know how we feel about things. Sometimes we just have to face things. But that's a look at what last week was like for me and what I have coming up this week. So if you've listened this far, thanks so much for listening to me ramble on. I hope you've enjoyed my company. I sure appreciate you listening to me. And I hope you have a great upcoming week and an easy one at that. And until next Monday, when we can chat again, let's all of us take care. Again, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.